Hey there, and welcome. You know that feeling when you're trying to talk about the future in English and you just get stuck? Well, today we are going to fix that. We're going to master one of the most useful tools for talking about what's next. So think about this for a second. How do you talk about your plans for, say, next weekend? Or what you're doing next month? It can feel a little tricky, right? But honestly, it doesn't have to be. Because you're in luck. Today, we're going to break down one super simple, really powerful phrase that's going to make all the difference. Yep, we're talking about be going to. Let's jump right in. Okay, first things first. Before we even build sentences, the most important part is knowing when to use going to. And really, it all comes down to two main situations. So here's the deal. On the one hand, we use it for our plans and intentions, stuff you decided to do before you even opened your mouth. And on the other hand, we use it for predictions when we have some kind of proof, some evidence we can see right now. Let's look at an example of each. It'll make it super clear. So take a look at this first one. I am going to buy a new car. This is a perfect example of a future plan. Why? Because the decision was already made. You've thought about it, you've saved up, the plan is locked in. And now for the second situation. Picture this. You walk outside, you look up at the sky, and you see huge, dark clouds rolling in. You can say with total confidence, it is going to rain. The clouds are your evidence. Simple as that. All right, so we've got the when down. Now for the how. How do we actually put these sentences together? And I've got great news for you. The formula is incredibly simple. It's basically a simple four-part recipe. You start with your subject. Then, and this is the most important part to get right, you need the correct form of the verb to be. After that, you just add going to and finish it off with your main verb in its simplest form.
Let's see this in action. Check out the chart. See how that verb to be changes? It's the only tricky part. I am, he is, they are. Once you get that down, you're pretty much golden.
Okay, but what if you're not going to do something? Making it negative couldn't be easier. You literally just drop the word not right after the to be verb. She is not going to buy that dress. And you'll almost always hear people use contractions like isn't or aren't when they're talking.
And what about asking questions? It's just a little switcheroo. You take the to be verb, the is or the are, and you just move it to the very front of the sentence. He is going becomes is he going? That's it.
Okay, you've got the rules down. Now, you want to sound, well, a little more natural when you speak, right? Let's talk about a little shortcut that will make a huge difference. Let's talk about gonna. I guarantee you've heard this a million times. Gonna is just the fast, relaxed, everyday way we say going to. In natural conversation, you're going to hear this constantly. And here's a perfect side-by-side example. You would write, I am going to call you. But if you were actually saying it to a friend, you'd say, I'm going to call you. Understanding this is a massive boost for your listening skills. Okay, listen up because this is a really, really important rule. Gonna is fantastic for speaking, but you should never write it in anything formal, not in an email to your boss, not in a school paper, and definitely not on an English test. Keep gonna for speaking and you'll be fine. All right, enough of me talking. You know the best way to really get this stuff to stick is by actually doing it. So let's put what we've learned into practice. It's your turn now.
Okay, first one up. Take a look at the screen. We've got my brother and the verb study. How would you fill in that blank? Take a second, say it out loud. So what'd you get? It's is going to study. Nice, that's exactly it. We use is because my brother is a he. Perfect start.
All right, let's try a negative one this time. The clues are right there on the screen for you. They not play tennis. What do you think? And the answer is are not going to play. We use are because the subject is they, and we just pop that not right after it. Of course, you could absolutely say aren't going to play, and that's probably what you'd hear in a real conversation.
Okay, last one. And this question isn't about the grammar, it's about the meaning. Read the sentence. Are we looking at a pre-decided plan or a prediction with evidence?
It is a plan, for sure. And what's the dead giveaway? It's right there in that first sentence. I bought my ticket. The action's been taken, the decision is locked in. That's a classic future plan.
You totally nailed that. Seriously, fantastic work. You've just walked through everything you need to know about be going to. This is such a core tool, and now you have it ready to go for your next English conversation. So, I've got one last question for you, using your new skill. What are you going to do next?
Think about it and try to answer out loud with a full sentence. Awesome job today, and thanks for joining me.